The Witcher, Episode 1, The End's Beginning. We talk monsters, we talk destiny, and we talk the lesser of two evils. Let's do this. If you like talking sci fi and fantasy, please subscribe. Don't make me beg. Hey, welcome back to Sporking News Podcast. My name is Scott. Sub me if you like. If you don't, that's fine too. Hit like, share. That'd be great for the channel. Thanks. So The Witcher is on Netflix. So they dropped it as all 8 episodes, not just a single episode. Weekly, it actually is more of like a set up as a binge type episodic adventure. I said in my last video, I believe that for this series, season 1, I think that was a great option. I was actually looking forward to a weekly one, but uh, the way that this show goes, and this is a spoiler review, but I'm going to even spoil more towards the end. Right now, I'm going to just spoil this episode, but at the end, I'll explain more of why I think it's better that it was binged. So let's get into it. It's the end's beginning. Okay. And right off the rip, the pond. We see a deer walk up. It's feeding. It's quiet, but we see some bubbling in the pond. All of a sudden, this large, massive monster comes out. We find out that that's a Kikimor. It's like a spider type monster. It's huge, and we first meet Geralt of Rivia, or yeah, Rivia. Geralt. I don't know how they really pronounce it. English accents get me. Sorry, guys. So Geralt. I'm going to keep doing that. Sorry. He's fighting the monster. We see right off the rip what a Witcher looks like when they're in the heat of battle and they've already taken a potion. We don't see him actually take the potion in this episode, but that is what they do. They take a potion to give them heightened strength of their already mutated bodies, and we find out down the road how that happened. But they are mutants, these Witchers. So his eyes are black, like a. The best way I can put it is if you ever saw, don't hate me for this, Vampire Diaries, the way the vampire's eyes turn black, but you also see like the veins. That's what his eyes look like. He kills this Kikimor and he brings it to a town called Balfikin, where he's looking for a magistrate of some sort to sell the parts of this monster. So this is how he makes money. He kills monsters. Either he gets hired to kill them or he kills them to sell them to people that might use it for healing properties or sorcery or whatever. He doesn't care. He's very kind of neutral, chaotic neutral, but neutral, kind of like a role-playing type thing. But so he enters the town. People are looking at him. He's very obvious that he's different. Okay, he has very long, streaked blonde hair, played by Henry Cavill, if I haven't said that already, and I think he does an excellent job throughout the series. He plays a brooding character as it is, well, but he plays this guy to a T. Now, I didn't play the video game, I didn't read the books, so or the little novellas. I can't speak to that, but from what I expected him to be like, he plays him really well. When he isn't black eyed, his eyes are actually like a yellowish red, mostly a yellow. So it's obvious he is mutated. Goes into the bar, wants to sell it. So people are either scared or act tough, but are really scared of these guys. There's a lot of prejudice towards Witchers. No one wants them around unless they really need them. So it's one of those types where unless they need them, they don't want to be seen. They just want you to leave them alone. Very prejudiced against them, against a lot of magic using people. What I like about this series, it takes some topics like prejudice and futile living and class wars, and it subtly puts it in there, so it's not in your face. Unlike other shows or movies, there is no, plot being hurt by the agenda of these type of things. I don't feel like it's an agenda. When you watch it, it actually just feels like, hey, this is part of this world. And that's what I really liked about this first episode. You get a taste of this world. So right off the rip, he's getting attitude. These guys get up, they're about to fight, and a woman tells him sit down, and we meet her name is Renfrey. Okay, so Renfrey is played by a woman named Emma Appleton, and I gotta say she is in like one or two episodes. This is her episode, and she's amazing. I really liked her. I feel like throughout the series, I don't feel like anyone phoned it in. I feel like people, you feel more, if there's any comparison to Game of Thrones, which this is nothing like Game of Thrones, so don't compare it. But if you are going to compare it, the only thing I can say is that when you're watching it, you feel like you're in that world. The difference between some other shows that everyone's loving right now, like The Mandalorian, I don't feel like I'm in a world. Like it's separate. That feels like a show. This feels like I'm stepping in and just like watching a world unfold. Like if you understand what I mean by that. So he meets Renfrey, buys a couple beers. They hit it off. They talk. Um, and one of the first topics is monsters. They discuss like, he kills monsters. He can't take the main roads because monsters aren't on the main roads. And she says, well, I see monsters wherever I go. So there's a stress in this show to show that monsters aren't the only, not all monsters are evil, actual monsters. Men, though, you will find are monsters. So it compares the two. It's a world where there's a lot of prejudice towards monsters, yet some of them aren't bad. And Gerald will not kill those people, those monsters. You find out the humans are really the monsters. And that's one thing I liked about it too. So Meroka takes him to a sorcerer. Now the town has a sorcerer. His name is Irion, the Master Irion. He is a wizard, and that he will buy these Kikimor parts from the Witcher. So then we jump to a little girl playing with these boys in the middle of a castle, a town. They're playing a dice game called Bones, I believe. She's about to roll when knights roll up and they're like, we need you. And the boys run away and they take her. Well, it turns out her name is Ciri. Ciri is actually the princess, and it is Princess Sorella, played by Freya Allen, who plays this part throughout the season. Fantastic. She is the lion cub of Sintra, and this is the town she's from, or the castle where her grandmother is the Queen Calathane. Calathane is Jodie May. She was Maggie the Frog in Game of Thrones. It's the only other show I really know her from. She is known as the Lioness of Sintra, and she is a battle-hardened queen. But from what we see here is she's giving medals to people and probably titles to people, while Freya and not Freya, but Ciri and the king are behind her, just, oh, did you win at dice? Oh, did you do this? Did you do that? So they have like a nice family moment, very regal, very respectable. Okay, so now we jump back to Stigmore and Gothry, The Witcher. I'm just gonna say The Witcher because I freaking will keep messing that up every review. So we jump back to The Witcher and him, and we find out that he, tricked him into coming to the castle. He actually wanted the Witcher not to sell him parts, but actually had the girl bring a Witcher to him to help him kill his monster. And he once again brings destiny into it. And then right after that, he says, and it's a human, and it's this Renfrey. And that Renfrey is a monster. So there's this prophecy, a curse, that the Lydith, queen of the demons, is going to be returning. And one of the signs is a black sun. And it only happens every 1,200 years, or 12,000, 1,200, one of the two. I know it's a big difference, but it's one of the two. Not really important. What's important is that there was a thing they called the black sun in this world, and it's a total eclipse, rarely happens, and that 60 women with crowns will usher her in with blood on the streets and killing people. So any girl that was born around this time, this wizard would go lock them up in a tower and try, he says, to cure them of the mutation they had. They all showed a mutation. They all ended up dying. He did autopsies on all of them except for Renfrey. He sent someone to get Renfrey. he says she killed the guy with the brooch, brooch in the neck, and that she's now been fighting and learning to be a killer, robbing, stealing, murdering, and that been hunting him down, and she's immune to magic because of the mutation. So we find out that the Witcher also is immune to magic for the most part because of his mutations. Um, and he, right off the rip, Gilfrey says he will not kill anyone for him, and you know, uh, just because it's not his battle, he stays out of it. He doesn't want to choose a side. But this wizard says that, pick the lesser of two evils. If she ushers in this demon, the world will die. Kill her for me. Help me stop this curse. Um, you know, she is a monster. Once again, it's all about monsters, lesser of two evils, and it's your destiny. So he leaves there saying, to you, the wizard. And we go back to Renfrey. So now we go back to Surrey and her family. They are at a banquet. They are up at the high table. And while people are dancing and having a merry time, they talk about a, a land called Nilfgaard. And Nilfgaard's on the march. Now, the queen does not seem worried. She says they're far away. We have 50 ships coming in that the king is actually married into this family. The king's people are sending 50 ships with full of troops. She says we have more troops. They're far away. We have city walls. They will not get to us. So she just kind of brushes it off. And Siri wants to get involved with this conversation, but she's like, we're talking war. You're too young. And Siri makes a comment, well, you won your first battle at my age. And that's a key point that I didn't notice earlier, but we'll talk about that later. So, a young man comes up, and right before he comes up with his father to ask Siri to dance, the queen says, all right, if we are going to do this, let me tell you, first rule, always have your sword near you and always keep it swinging, like keep it active. Always be practicing, always being getting better. You need to be a warrior. It was a very poignant moment. You could tell it meant a lot to the queen, and it hurt her to actually tell her granddaughter this because she does not want to lose her. She doesn't want her being in battles. But again, she feels like it's far away, so whatever. So Suri goes and dances with this young man, and one of the knights comes up and tells the queen, guess what? Nilfgaard's close. Okay, so I don't know who their scouts are. I don't know who their people are, but for some reason they didn't know they're pretty darn close and they're ready to have to go to battle with them. That's one part I didn't really like about this. There's a couple parts. All in all, good episode, great intro episode, brings you into the world, tells you what witchers are, tells you about magic, tells you about the different, the two main points, which is Gilfrey, the witcher, and Ciri, the princess. And those are the two main storylines. And Yennefer will come in later. She is the third, and that's like the trifecta of storylines in this season. But she doesn't come into this episode. She shows up in the next. So Nilfgaard is there, and then we jump back to the Witcher picking herbs in the ground, and Renfrey walks up on him, and she starts talking to him about monsters and this and that again, and her destiny. But she's like, you talked to the wizard, didn't you? And he's like, yes, I know who you are, Renfrey. And she's like, well, did he tell you that his man raped me and he robbed me and he left me there? So we're hearing conflicting stories. And she also says, I want you to kill him for me. And the Witcher, I don't do that. I'm not taking sides. This is between you two guys. Well, I need you to kill him. It's the lesser of two evils than me killing him. Because the Witcher keeps saying, if you kill him, you'll be lost. You will become that monster that they think you are. Again, one thing I didn't like about this episode is I don't know why the Witcher got so involved. Okay, maybe this could have been more than one episode and we could have learned a little bit more. I felt like they rushed this episode a little bit, like the connection between him and Renfrey, but it is what it is. So she wants him to kill him. He's telling her, you'll be the monster. I can't allow you to kill the wizard. I don't know why he cares. so please don't do this. You can get killed. He kind of like, you could tell he kind of cares for her after their one conversation at the bar, you know, but whatever. Um, so, um, again, destiny, it's his destiny to intervene and help her. It's the lesser of two evils. And then that one ends. So Gilthrey, the Witcher, gives her Renfrey an ultimatum: leave, Balkvin for good, and live your life, or become the monster they say you are. And that scene ends, and we jump now back to the Queen, Calisane, um, in battle, or setting up for battle. They are on the low ground. The high ground is Nilfgaard. Nilfgaard seems to outnumber them, and the battle rages on. They charge and they start fighting, and men are dying. Good scene, pretty good scene. So after we see the beginning of this battle, we jump back to Suri. She's with Mousik. Now Mousik was at the dinner prior, but he didn't say anything. Mousik is a wizard, okay, and you could tell he's been watching Suri for a very long time, part of the family for a very long time. Suri's very, anxious about where her grandmother is because it's been a few days. There's one night there with her, the one that picked her up on the horse at the very beginning. Um, and they're waiting for them, but we jump then back to the battle, and we see the king. The king is rallying his people, and he gets an arrow in the eye. Boom. We find out the 50 ships aren't coming, so the queen's like, we fight to the end, and they attack. Boom. That's all we see. So next thing we see is that the queen took a mortal injury. Nilfgaard is taking the city. They hand out the poison. We don't realize that right away, but yes, she has her main guard and Mousesack leave and go do two commands she already gave them. The main guard gives out poison to everybody and tells them it's time because the people within the city, Nilfgaard does not take prisoners. The other guy, Mousesack, leaves, comes back and says, my queen, he's gone. So they tell him, get the coat. You need to take Ciri out of this castle. She needs to be saved. She's the future of this Cintron kingdom. Please save her. Blah, blah, blah. The queen says, I love you, my girl, but know when to stop, know when it's over. That was her next one. And Ciri's like, I don't want to go. And she gets up and she screams, and the glasses kind of shake. And everyone kind of freezes and looks around, and they whisk her away. Mousesack says, I saw that. Yeah, you saw that. And they're talking where we don't understand yet what they're talking about, but she's pretty much saying, you need to protect her, and get her out of here, get her to her destiny. Okay. And we find out later in the season what that is. The queen thanks him. They take Ciri, they leave. The queen gets up, walks to the window, and she Tommins the shit out of this. She just boom out the window, boom, dead. That was a good scene. So I'm kind of rushing it because this is a long video, so I'm sorry, but need to get it done. So the Witcher's telling his horse, because he talks to his horse, about his first monster kill. And it was a young girl getting grabbed by this monster that was going to rape her in front of her father. And he killed the monster, and the girl was freaked out by him because of the way he looks and the blood all over him and blood all over her. And he realized that day that they're going to just view me as a monster too. Renfrey, for the first time, he feels a connection with her because she also is seen as a monster. They both are mutants, and they make love, and he falls asleep, and he wakes up after this dream that tells him that the girl in the woods is your destiny. And he sees that she's gone, Renfrey, and he realizes she went to the market. She's going to kill this Stigomore guy. Holy crap, got to stop it. So he leaves, ends up in the market. This is the best scene of the whole show. It's Renfrey's men. There's about 10 of them, and they're like, either leave, turn around now, or you're a dead man. She took your little friend, that Malaric girl, and she's going to kill Stigomore. So the Witcher just slow-mo and, great choreography. And there's it's a fast one. Then it kind of slows down as he kills a guy. I mean, it's vicious. It's a great fight scene. And then you see Renfrey with the girl, knife to the throat. I'm going to kill her. I'm going to kill everybody until Stigmore comes down. Witcher's like, I can't let you do that. He tries to use magic on her. Magic won't work. Please don't do this. If our swords meet, she's like, I won't stop. And they attack each other and they fight. He gets a couple injuries. She gets a couple injuries, but he ends up killing her. So the last thing she says is, the girl in the woods is your destiny. Once again, destiny, monsters, lesser of two evils. So Stigmore comes out. He's all stoked. He's like, oh, thank God you killed her. Pick up the body, take it so I could do an autopsy. And he's like, I am not, the Witcher's like, you touch that body and we'll freaking kill you, man. And he's like, she got to you. Her mutation helps her, like, I guess, um, you know, kind of brainwash people into helping her. Um, I don't know if that worked to the Witcher, because the Witcher isn't able to magic usually doesn't involve that. I think he was more in love with this woman, even though it was kind of quick. And then you see Stigmore says it. You don't know if you made the right choice. Killing her, or, killing her could have been the right or the wrong choice. You're never going to know. And then he starts saying, you broke the law. And all the people around him start getting hyped up, throwing rocks at the Witcher. And even the little girl goes, get out of here, never return. And you find out that, okay, that's where he gets his name. So he's known from then on as the Butcher of Balakin. Good episode. So I'm going to do a little bit more of a spoiler right here. So if you don't want to hear it, thank you for coming. Sub, share, whatever. End it right here. But for you guys who want to hear this, if you've seen the rest of this show or you just want to hear spoiler, here it goes. So we find out in the rest of the series that the timelines are completely different. The Gerald part of it starts years and years before the Ciri part. And there's a couple clues in this one. So one of the clues is, we find out when Ciri says to her grandmother, you won your first battle at my age. Well, in the next scene, Renfrey tells Gerald, oh, I'm a princess and I could have been, great. Queen Calithan of Sintra just won her first battle. So right there, we know it's how many years difference. If she just won her first battle and she's the age of Ciri at that time, boom. We just should have picked that up, but I didn't pick it up until my second viewing after the whole season. And then the next clue was when Mousek's talking to Ciri, he's getting very upset with her. And he's like, many, many, many years ago, wizards used to lock girls up in the tower until they died because of their curses and this and that. What we find out earlier is that Stigmore was doing that many years prior. He's saying it's many years prior. So those were the two clues. Didn't get it the first time, got it the second time. Thought that was pretty cool. But thank you for checking out my review. Sorry if it seems like I'm a little under the weather, and it's Christmas. Merry Christmas. And I just didn't, wanted to get something out there for you guys. I promise to have more energy on my next review and maybe make it not as long. Thank you. And remember, if they're calling you names, they've already lost the war. Have a great day, everybody.